Have you ever noticed how some entrepreneurs find it so easy to attract business opportunities and others don't? Have you also ever noticed how some people are ultra charismatic and others are simply not? The problem is they have a problem that you may not even be aware of. And that's why we brought Leah Spasova. She is the founder of Life Sexplicit. She is a psychologist, sex and relationships expert, and the founder of Life Sexplicit, a groundbreaking censorship-free platform for sexual wellness. With a background in psychology and years of experience supporting clients in navigating intimacy, relationships, and personal growth, Leah empowers individuals and professionals alike. So, one important thing that is the problem for a lot of these entrepreneurs that struggle to be charismatic is that they need to look at healing their love life. Because when they heal their love life, they become successful, they become more charismatic, they seem to attract more flow. So let's hear it from the expert, Leah, how that is possible for entrepreneurs to become more successful by healing their love life. Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
That's a really important and good question. The issue for a lot of entrepreneurs, for instance, is that they don't come very confident into entrepreneurship itself because maybe they're first-time entrepreneurs. And especially if you're struggling in your home environment and you're an entrepreneur, you may end up just finding yourself struggling in your business and going down the path of workaholism and hustle culture, etc. And that ends up traumatizing your primary relationships even more. So you feel eroded at home. You feel like you're struggling in the workplace. There's no flow, no energy in you that is positively charged, that is bringing good kind of vibe people around you, just because you're struggling yourself. Every single person that's here, if there has been at least one moment in your life when you felt so connected, so passionately involved with someone that you remember feeling on top of the world, like you could do anything, like you just had the confidence, you had that sense of ability and limitlessness. It came because you felt seen, heard, understood, connected, respected, loved, desired. And all of these things happen only in healthy, loving relationships where you can uplift each other, where you have that kind of support for each other. And you go home and you may have had a struggle and a difficult day, but then you feel uplifted. You feel cherished and appreciated and connected, and you have the energy to go another day and fight another battle. And you show up very differently when your home is a place of love, connection, passion. Because when you feel all these feelings and when you get connected to yourself, to your partner, to your body, sexually, intimately as well, you do show up at the workplace with a completely different set of expectations for yourself, of the people around you. And that naturally will make you way more nice to be around. You know, we've all seen those people that are just so frustrated, so angry, and we want to tell them to, excuse my French, but go fuck themselves, just because we know that they have some steam and they need to let go of and just go back to their body and take care of themselves. You know, like as a sexuality professional, like I often think like to tell someone to go fuck themselves is probably like the best self-care tip you can give them at a time. Because sexuality is so powerful to make us feel so like desired and appreciated and seen and just charged. So yeah, like the best success stories that I know are people that have amazing relationships and get laid and have amazing intimate life with their partners. So there is definite connection between our relationships and our success outside of the bedroom, in the boardroom, and everywhere else.
Thank you. So, what can entrepreneurs do aside from having sex? I mean, how can you make sure that the sex is so fulfilling that it does lead to you becoming, magnetic, charismatic, fun, and you feel that kind of flow? And the reason I ask is because I feel that, so sometimes I get that kind of feeling where I'm like on this high, right? And I feel like I'm on a high, and I'm not taking drugs, I promise you, and I'm not smoking cigarettes, and I'm not doing anything to be on a high. It's just that feeling that you get when you feel really, really great. Now, it doesn't always need to come from sex. I find that, for example, it can also come from exercise sometimes. It can come also from like doing stuff that you truly love to do. Like, for example, like dancing, or I don't know, playing tennis, or even like indoor cycling. Like, you can contradict me and say, actually, no, sex is the best thing. And I probably would agree. But what I'm saying is that you can get that high from other activities that are not necessarily sexual, but the sex does help. So I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, amazing question. I love it. So one of the things is, unfortunately, most people have really terrible sex. It's like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's like wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of thing. And that's not going to be fulfilling. You may have tons of this kind of intimacy and sex, and it's not going to be fulfilling. So part of the journey to harness this energy and this positive charge is to actually be truly attuned to yourself, to what works for your body, and to be caring for your partner's intimacy and sexual needs and desires and fantasies. That's where you become a creator. Like, there is no hiding that kids have the best of fun time ever. Why? Because they're just playing, they're just having fun, they're not caught up with, we have 5 minutes. Like, they allow themselves to immerse and joy, and there's no judgment, there's just play. And that's why we call sex toys, not sex tools, because we need to be playful. We need to like enjoy what we're doing. We need to like go into that curiosity, almost childlike, and be like, what do you like? What do you want us to try? This is where this absolutely unique experience can come, when you're honest, you're authentic, you are in explorer mode and curious and non-judgmental to yourself and to your partner as well. And yes, you can get high on everything else that you mentioned. Dancing, tennis. I love tennis. I do archery as well. You get a high when you hit gold in archery, but it's not the same. It's not the same because I love the expression, I'm high on life. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol either. And when people are like, oh, how come? I'm like, I'm high on life. Like, I don't need this, like I'm wild enough. I'm high on life. And that comes exactly from that sense of authenticity in my life overall, in acceptance of who am I as a whole being, as a friend, as a partner, as a sexual being. And there is nothing like being seen in your most vulnerable and being respected, loved, appreciated, cherished, uplifted, pleasured by someone who is fully accepting of that. You can have the best tennis match ever. You can have the best yoga session ever, and it would still not be as good as feeling that intimacy, connection, and next level appreciation of yourself, of your body, and of someone that has shared the same thing with you. And yeah, I've had yoga sessions that have been better than sex that I've had with certain, folks that have just been like, not that interested in pleasure and fun. They've just been interested in like, let's get it done. I'm like, well, that was boring. Thanks. But that's the thing, that it is different as to what we get. We get a lot of validation. We get a lot of connection. We get a lot of love. Even if we don't love the person that we're hooking up with, it's fine. You still feel that kind of lovingness could be there. Not necessarily marriage proposal time, but, you know, there could still be love and tenderness between two people that are just having the best of times together.
Thank you. Now, what about if you are already on a high from other activities, okay, but you don't have a partner that can offer you, more than the 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes experience. Therefore, yeah, you would love to have, this amazing thing that you're talking about. But what if it's not possible? What do you suggest to those entrepreneurs?
I would say if you are partnered, it's about having a conversation with your partner. Maybe they themselves are not happy with the status quo as it is. And I know that this is a new phrase for a lot of people, but there is something that in the industry we call pleasure potential. And majority of people are never reaching their pleasure potential because they are too shy or too hurt or too embarrassed, or feel, guilt or shame around sexuality, and they never get to that place. And when I speak to people who might not be living up to their pleasure potential, which is exponentially growing as you grow as a sexual being, is exactly that. Are you curious? Like, can you invite yourself and your partner to a sexual exploration journey where you can start chatting about it? You can invite the help of a professional if necessary to help open your mind and like help you navigate these conversations, invite fantasy, invite opportunities, because a lot of people think of sex as something that's just like penetrative sex, happens for 5 minutes, if you're lucky 10, and that's that. And I'm like, oh my God, like, no, like sex can, like, you can have intimacy and sex and mind-blowing, like earth-shattering, whole body convulsing for like not minutes, hours, especially if you go down the tantra route. I know people that have like all night kind of sex, and it's not like that they're just doing like penetration the whole time. It's so much more. Or the kink world, and it's like they've had a whole night of connecting, of passion. And when you've had that, like, think how you show up the next day, or on the Monday when you've had a weekend full of pleasure and connection. It's about, if you are partnered, it's about inviting your partner on a journey and not saying you're wrong, you're not doing it right, or whatever it is. It's just like, hey, do you want us to have a better time? Because we can. I just learned about this thing called pleasure potential. I don't think we're living it. And just invite them to that opportunity. And if you're single, then it's a matter of like, well, do you want to have fun? And how do you define fun? And what do you want? Do you want one night stands? Do you want, to start building a relationship after like dating sometime? And what's standing in the way? Do you need a dating coach to help you navigate the scene, or something else? Like, it's again about like curiosity. And what do I actually want from this experience? How do I go about it?
Thank you. Now, toxic relationships tend to be a lot spicier than normal ones. So I do wonder how you can make a normal relationship be spicy with a man who's not so interested in being spicy.
I would ask what is defined as spicy, because my spicy is very different to someone else's spicy. And it doesn't have to be that you tell them, I want you to, I don't know, spank me, or do tantric sex with me or something. It's more about inviting them to step into exploration. And then the interesting thing that happens is that you see people's curiosity grow. The more non-judgmental space you can provide, that is open to play, that's open to exploration, the people relax Yes, some people slower than others, but as long as you can give up placing blame or making them like think that it's down to them and they're inadequate or whatever it is, it's just like, how can we play? And then you find new comfort zones and new discomfort zones, and then what was whoa yesterday maybe kind of like yeah, we should maybe we can research this and try it, you know. But it doesn't have to be starting with I want some spice and that's how it's gonna be, and you're boring if you don't do this or whatever it is. It's, can we play? Can we like explore? Are you curious? What are you curious about? Did you have any like sexy dreams recently? What kind of porn have you been watching? And just start conversations that are positive, that are open, that are non-judgmental, and see where that leads.
Thank you. For people that are in long-term relationships where they feel like the, bedroom action is kind of slowed down to the point that they're not so interested in it anymore, what do you suggest they do?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to the quiet bedroom or the sexless marriage or whatever it is, people arrive to it from very different paths. So some people arrive to it because there's been abuse in the past and old wounds have resurfaced. For others, the path to this is poor connection, poor relationship, feeling unloved, feeling unseen. For others, it's something else. It might be that they experience painful sex or a lot of shame and guilt after having sex. So it is quite important to know where is this sexless relationship coming from, and to find the right professionals who can help, because a lot of my clients throughout the years have come to me, have gone down many paths, especially if it's been around painful sex or something like this. They've gone to doctors, to gynecologists, to blah, and it's not been helpful, or erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation. And the reason why it's not worked is because they haven't found the right professional. Because the same issue, let's say erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation, may come from the same, like from a very different place for different individuals. Same issue, different source. So premature ejaculation can be down to sensitivity, yes, but it can also be down to, let's say, anxiety. And it could be down to fear of connection and being actually truly intimate. So the person has just developed this, like, just get it done. And that's not even something that is deeply, like, that they're deeply connected to as a truth for themselves. But this is something that you can explore and work with a professional to see what's happening, what's led to this. Is it the dynamic in the relationship? Is it some personal issue? Is it a medical issue, etc.? And that's where using the support of professionals who are experts in this is quite important.
Thank you. Would you say that most people are in the situation where they are not kind of like having the sex life they desire, and because of that, their business suffers, their flow of clients suffers, their charisma suffers? Or would you say it's like a 50-50 percentage? What is the typical percentage of people that suffer from that?
I can't give you exact percentages, because the part of the problem with this thing is that nobody wants to talk about it because everybody's so embarrassed. It's very difficult to even get true data from people because they want to lie. A lot of the time, they're just like too embarrassed to say how it is. So part of the challenge is, one, becoming aware that your intimate life and your family life or relationship life is not in a good place, and to come to terms with, okay, maybe I want to work on this and fix it. Because as I was saying earlier, when you are connected to your body, to your partner, to yourself, the way you experience the world is different. The way you show up is different. Think of the time when you've had a difficult conversation with, say, your partner, and it was a fight. And then you go to work the next day and you're thinking about it and you're still like, I should have said that. ah, God damn it, this, like, how could they do blah, blah, blah. And then think of a different time when you were connected to a partner and you went to your job the next day and you felt like, yeah, everything's easy. And you were more open to talking to people. You were more connected with yourself. I genuinely had a client who has been self-suppressing for like his whole life. Had some kinks, always felt embarrassed, ashamed, afraid. And we've been working with him and getting him to the point of self-acceptance. And I kept giving him this example. I was like, you're not showing up fully in your intimate relationship. It's like you're missing a limb, like, and showing up to the bedroom. You're not going to be a full lover if you're not fully yourself there. And it took a while for him to get to that point of acceptance. And then he shows up in a session. I'm like, how have you been? What's been happening? And he's like, I can't even believe like I'm chatting more to people in the park when I'm walking my dog. I'm more friendly. I'm relaxed. I don't know where this is coming from. And I'm like, are you sure you don't know where this is coming from? And it was literally because he was beginning to self-accept, and instead of like self-judge and put himself down, etc., all the time for his desires, for his interests, he was like, oh, I'm coming into self-acceptance. And when you self-accept, you become open-hearted. You're way more approachable as well, because you're not on an internal battle with yourself. So yeah, you would show up differently. And that's why I told you before we started recording, I did a talk a couple of years ago to a bunch of entrepreneurs in my locality where I was in Oxford in the UK about the return on investment for employers when they invest in the relational and sexual well-being of their workforce. Because if you have an employee that has had a fight last night, they're not happy bunny today, they're not going to be the best to your customers, they're not going to be the best at writing this report or this presentation or project, etc. But if you support them by giving them access and support for their relationship, romantic relationship and intimate life, then when they have had a night of connecting and a happy morning with their partner, they're coming to work and they're going to do that amazing presentation. They're going to be smiling to your customers, to your end customers. They're going to be on top of the world, and that would reflect on your business, So there is a massive connection between people who are happy and connected at home with success.
Thank you. For those entrepreneurs that are in relationships where the partner is not so willing to kind of try new things, what do you recommend?
Again, I would say go back to curiosity and openness and invite the possibility of exploring full pleasure potential, and also ask them, like, what are we going to lose if we try? And can we engage a professional? Because the thing is, a lot of people read books and then they suggest things to their partner, but the problem is they don't know how to bring it up. Or their partner may take it as an offense and may take it as like, what are you saying? What are you missing? Etc. And that just, if that's the case, I would highlight this is exactly why you need a third party to come in and support you. Because sometimes it takes a third person to be there, non-judgmental, and opening your minds and horizons to the possibilities for your partner to kind of like be like, oh, okay. Because it has happened to everybody. Like, you may receive the same message from two different people, like within the same week, and you're more likely to listen to one versus the other. And it's the same message. And you may have had the same thing where you suggest something to a person, maybe a partner or your child or your brother, sister, doesn't matter. And then they're like, yeah, okay. And then someone else suggests the same thing you did. And they go like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that. And you're like, I suggested this last week. Why didn't you listen to me? And that's exactly what happens a lot in the therapy room, that you may have suggested things to your partner. They may not have been receptive, but if a professional suggests it, then they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's do this. There's a massive benefit to bringing in like companies bring consultants with a fresh eye, with a fresh idea, etc., is similar thing. Like treat your romantic relationships a little bit like you would treat your business, and then you'd see how much it will pay off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us where entrepreneurs can find support, where they cannot kind of make it happen that by themselves.
Glad you asked that. I would highlight an important issue. There is a massive censorship that would prevent most people from actually finding the right support for their romantic and intimate life. Many people don't know that when it comes to products, like it could be a perfume or a Gucci bag, it's definitely like sexualized and sold through sex. Like, oh, it's so sexy, and you'll be like, blah. But when it comes to sexual health and well-being, there is a massive war on your sex and intimate life. And most mental health professionals, surprise, surprise, are not actually trained in sex and relationships. So if you're thinking you're going to go on any directory for therapists or coaches or whatever, and you're going to find the right professional to help you with your intimate life, you're in for a treat. You're probably going to waste your time there. Most, as I say, mental health professionals are not trained in this. And there is a platform called Life Sexplicit, because life is explicit. It's full, it's uncensored, it's unfiltered, where you can find professionals specifically trained and experts in their field of sex and relationships. You can find Tantra experts, BDSM and kink professionals. You can find professionals specializing in aging sexuality, because as much as people don't want to think about it, old folks, seniors are having sex and fun. You can find professionals specializing in pretty much anything from like chronic pain and sex through blended families and whatnot. So if you are looking for support for your intimate and romantic life, I would definitely recommend lifesexplicit.com, where you can find expert support.
Thank you. And where can entrepreneurs find you?
I'm also on Life Explicit, or if they just Google my name, they'll find me everywhere. I'm quite Googleable, Leah Spasova, and yeah, I do work with couples and with individuals as well. I'm more of an expert into the dynamics and what has led people to be where they are in their relationships, like patterns. And I can also like support people with entering the kink world or opening their relationships if they're interested in ethical non-monogamy. So these are some of the things that I specialize in. And I'm quite often fully booked. And yes, there are people that are really keen on working with me, and they're prepared to wait for like a few weeks or a month or two even to work with me. But if I'm not the right professional for you because my expertise doesn't match it, I would always encourage people to not give up and to search for support on Life's Explicit to find what is important for them.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.